Hey, what's up everyone? Jack here. I hope you're all doing well on this Friday. So the news has come through yesterday and we're all in lockdown for another 3 weeks. I don't think anybody expected anything different though, and if we were all at work now, I think that would have been perhaps a greater cause for concern. So yeah, hopefully we can all find some more creative things to do over the next few weeks, and hopefully it will be more positive news next month. But anyway, movie-wise, today I wanted to talk a little bit about The Hunt, which is the latest film from Craig Zabel, and it's a political satire that's kind of masked as this bloody B-movie survival flick. If you're interested, it's actually on Amazon or Google Play already, so you can actually watch it straight away after you watch this review. So the film is essentially about a dozen or so strangers who are kind of unconsciously laid out in this clearing, and they've got no idea as to how or why they've gotten there. And soon after they wake up, it becomes obvious that they're actually being hunted down by this anonymous group of people. And before this kind of plot kicks off, the film opens with this group text message of people, with somebody writing that they're looking forward to this upcoming hunt of deplorables. And if you cast your mind back to 2016, a basket of deplorables was this term that Clinton used to describe a lot of Trump voters, particularly the ones that were xenophobic and sexist. And it's these like deplorables, which Clinton characterized, that are kind of the focus of the film, as it depicts this sort of battle between two political positions. The director Craig Zabel said in an interview that the film's meant to roast everybody equally, but I'm not actually sure he succeeds in doing that, because at least like narratively speaking, it's quite clear that the liberal characters, the villains, and the so-called deplorables are actually the victims, at least in the story. And the film makes a real point of kind of hammering the message that liberals have turned into climate-obsessed snowflakes, and then later it'll jump to an opinion that we all need to just calm down and stop attacking each other on social media. So it's dealing with some pretty hefty ideas, all while the film itself is jutting around at quite an action-packed pace. So consequently, some of these ideas actually get lost amidst all of everything that's kind of going on. Crucially at center, you have these hunter characters on one side who are quite broad kind of stereotypes of annoying, super ethical, kind of self-righteous liberals, and they're in one corner. And they attempt to kind of realign that balance with these xenophobic and racist characters on the other. So you basically got two extremes that are kind of battling against each other. And Betty Gilbert's character sort of slides into the middle of all this, and she's kind of meant to be the point of kind of like political neutrality. The fundamental problem with the film though is that it's so blunt in its execution. I think a lot of the themes and ideas they're trying to present aren't very subtly kind of woven into the story. And it's clearly aiming to be like shocking and provoke quite a discussion, but it's not as hard-hitting as like an episode of South Park. And satire traditionally works a lot better when it's centered around like families or small communities, and they were setting themselves quite a big challenge basically with this one. And it's a shame, because I think it would have passed as like a really simple low-budget horror survival film that kind of riffed on Battle Royale or The Hunger Games. But after the setup, it just kind of succumbed to its own weight a little bit. In the second half particularly, it kind of beats you pretty bluntly over the head with a ton of political jargon. It really kind of expects you to assume that everything they're saying and their approaches are really thought-provoking and insightful, and they really aren't necessarily. But the action's entertaining, and it has some fun being overtly violent and altogether a little bit over the top. So its greatest strength is definitely the central performance by Betty Gilpin, and she does a really effective job in playing this really forthright and kind of mysteriously competent character. But I can't actually say in good faith that I recommend The Hunt, because I'm sure it's going to be a really polarizing film regardless, and I'm sure you're going to have a friend that thinks it's like satirical genius and then another one that thinks it's completely terrible. But if you make a film that's anything kind of remotely political, then it's kind of going to be that way, I suppose. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for your support, and until next time, bye.